Always waiting for that 10-second mark. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Battlefront Livestream podcast, as I call it. Podcast not because it is an MP3 file being delivered through a podcatcher, but instead because, like a podcast, it is more talk radio-esque. It's much more about the conversation. It's much more about the information being provided, or the conversation with the people in the chat, or with a guest or whatever, or the commentary, rather than the gameplay itself per se. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I want to say the last time I did one was around January 4th or so. So kind of jumping back into it here, but a few things kind of from the get-go, just so that you know. Expect probably less and less of these. I know it's been about a month and a half since I did one, but expect less of these, with the exception of when they do something like they've done this week, which is provide us with some new content, because frankly there's not a lot drawing me back into the game. Kind of waiting to see what they do as far as retooling the progression system. Once the season of The Last Jedi wrapped up, it was kind of, I was kind of kicked out of it. And a lot to me, when it came down to the Last Jedi thing, what finally got me to say screw it, because I was jumping on every single day, doing the daily Last Jedi challenges every single day. Every time there was a new one up, I'd grab it, I'd jump into a match, and I'd make sure to get that daily crate and all that kind of stuff. Was the fact that we went through about a week there where we had 3 Last Jedi challenges pretty much in a row where they would not track correctly. I would go in, there'd be one, say, play 5 full matches of Starfighter Assault. And I'd play 3, leave, because of course you can't tell it correctly off of the results screen unless they've finally fixed that. Leave, go back into the time challenges or Last Jedi challenges section. I'd pull it up like this, and I'd look and, oh, right, I did 3, the goal is 5, it's only counted 1. And it did that over and over again, within the span of about a week, for 3 different challenges, at which point I said, screw it, I'm done, I'm not doing the daily challenges anymore, and without that, there's nothing really to draw me back into the game, unless they do some new content. They finally have. So we're going to be looking here at a new limited time mode, Jetpack Cargo, talk about the different changes. We're going to be running through, between matches in particular, running through some patch note type information here like I used to do for Battlefront 1. Just bear in mind that you're probably not going to see nearly as much of the Battlefront Livestream podcast until we get to maybe the next season of new content. One of the things that they have done is they have changed the cost, or the compensation, I suppose is the best way to put it, of duplicates from the crates. And I'm kind of scrolling and scrolling and scrolling through patch notes here to give you specifics. So let's open up that daily crate. There we go. All right. Notice there's a duplicate, okay, but it's a common. Usually that would have given a 200 credit bonus. Originally, they said they were going to be giving us crafting parts for duplicate stuff. That never materialized in the actual final game. Instead, we get a little bit of credits, but it's not nearly as much, especially if you just bought a crate, to actually make up for the fact that you spent up to $4,000 or 4,000 credits per crate if you're doing the trooper crate, which is kind of dumb, and wind up with very little. But what they've done is they have basically increased. A common duplicate will now give you 300 credits instead of 200, like we just saw there. An uncommon has gone from 400 credits to 600 credits. A rare has gone from 800 to 900 credits. And an epic has gone from 1,200 to 3,600 credits. Though that's interesting that an epic can give you that, because epics are not supposed to be in supply crates unless they're in rewards for a season, like with Season of The Last Jedi. So that's one of the things that they have done. They haven't fixed the fact that you still have to go into a match and come back out in order for the daily crate to show up, even though it says you've got a crate. But at least they've fixed the whole thing with what a duplicate is worth to make it a little bit more worthwhile to get a duplicate, though not by a whole hell of a lot. They've also added some new stuff that you'll find in the collection. If you don't already have emotes for your troopers, everybody already has at least a couple of emotes now. So, like, I hadn't unlocked Rock, Paper, Scissors. That turns out to be one of the ones they just gave us. So, I now have Rock, Paper, Scissors available. They also, for a few characters, like Luke, now have some new appearances that are available, sort of. So, he usually has just the Jedi appearance, but if you go down underneath, now there is a Hoth Luke appearance. And what we'll find is that, again, these are timed things. Trying to see where they first talk about this in the patch notes here to make sure I can give you the accurate information. Yes, Hoth appearances for Luke, Leia, and Han that we can preview now that will be unlockable through some timed challenges. But the timed challenge to unlock them is not there yet, so there's no way to actually unlock them. And notice it says on the side available through a timed challenge. So there's Luke, and then Leia has one, which really doesn't look terribly different here. And then Han should have his sort of decked out Hoth appearance. There you go. Right, to go along with the smuggler. Possibly. Usually what we have is we have about half the people who are watching actually show up on the numbers. About half don't. And then of those, you'll usually have maybe a quarter at most who are hopping in. And this is kind of an odd time of day, and I haven't streamed since January 4th with Battlefront stuff. So my guess is we probably won't see very many of the regulars pop up because they won't have the slightest idea that, that I'm doing anything. All right. So there's those. We'll check out some others. But the other big thing right now is that there is this new jetpack cargo mode. It is available only for a limited time. And if you're trying to get to it, yes, you have to go to it this way. If you try to go to multiplayer menu and go into it that way, you'll notice it's not available on the menu at all. So be sure if you're going to do jetpack cargo, go to it from the menu. This will be my first time jumping into it, so we'll see how it goes. What color is his coat? I mean, it's kind of the blackish, leaning towards navy kind of color, I guess. Haven't really thought about it. Because I usually don't tend to play as Han unless it's heroes versus villains and I'm trying to get a Han milestone out of the way. Oh, you're talking about his Hoth. I have no idea. Nobody's actually seen it in-game yet. The only time we've been able to see it so far is just in that shot there on the preview page. Until the time challenge emerges, we won't be able to actually see him in-game with it outside of looking like a blue hologram. One would hope that they got it screen accurate, but we'll see. Come on, Tatooine. All right, so as that's loading, other things from the patch notes. In Custom Arcade, you can now choose Kashyyyk, Hoth, Endor, Crate, Jakku, and Death Star 2, which you could not before. We have, of course, Jetpack Cargo here. We have those new appearances, as I mentioned. They've done a ton of balance tweaks. All right, pick up the cargo and deliver it to your base. All right. So we're all basically jetpack troopers, essentially. They said that they've actually changed the way that Boba Fett's jetpack maneuvers, so I'm wondering if they've done that for jet troopers also, to make it more user-friendly. Get up there! Get up there, Ed! Whoa, am I stuck? Oh! Fuck it. I haven't changed the ability to actually change direction. Alright, you're over there, we got it! Our team has it! Oh no! We should each have... Oh, shiza! Yeah, so basically just everybody's a jet trooper. Okay. Oh, die, Knight Rider! Hey! Alright, fine, I'll help protect you. I do like the fact that we finally have a mode here, and again, this is the first time I'm playing it, but we finally have a mode here where at least we've got a one of those grab something and take it over here kind of modes, except the grab something and take it over here mode is using jetpacks. So it speeds it up and it makes it a little bit more of a fair competition. Because usually if that's the mode you've got to do, say on strike, congratulations, your team is going to lose. Almost all the time if you're the one who has to deliver. I find that usually if I play that mode, I'm about the only person who's actually bothering to try to actually get the thing and deliver it. Everybody else plays it as if it's just blast. So... yes, PS4 is my main console. I use a Pro in here. We've got a Pro in our living room also, but that's because there was a time when it was we had a Pro being repaired, and we replaced it, and then it turned out that it could be repaired, which was kind of surprising. On Xbox One, I tend to only play either exclusives or stuff that I got a better deal on or something, you know? Like I tend to play the... Oh, shit! I tend to play the Assassin's Creed games on... and the Middle-earth games on Xbox One more because those happen to be it happens to be the system that I played them on first. Like, the first time I had a Middle-earth game, Shadow of Mordor, it was because my wife had got it for me for Xbox One, because I had just gotten the Xbox One. So now I'll play Shadow of War on it. And my, whoa! I had Titanfall 1 for it, so now I've got Titanfall 2 still for it, but I still need to play. And that sort of thing. But I don't stream off of it because you can't natively stream Xbox One to YouTube. There's no in-system way to do that. You have to have specialized equipment to do it, which is... Or you have to do it to Twitch first and then just process it to YouTube, which is asinine. So since there's no way to do that, and YouTube is primarily where I do my video content, both streaming and otherwise, yeah, it just doesn't make sense to play most of the games on the Xbox One. My Xbox One, honestly, right now is more of a glorified 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray player than it is a gaming console for me. Most of the time. Because, of course, the PlayStation 4 Pro, for some asinine reason, they decided to make a console that does 4K without giving it a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray drive, which was part of what drove Blu-ray sales with the PlayStation 3 in the first place. Not too shabby. I do kind of like the mode. It's kind of limiting, it seems like. You don't have any moments where you get to actually change characters or anything. But not bad. Yeah, that's interesting. Nothing underneath there. So not bad. I'll keep trying a little bit more of this. As it's loading, again, other stuff that's going on. Again, they've done major tweaks to Boba Fett, Iden Versio, Bossk, Rey, Kylo Ren, Luke Skywalker, Emperor Palpatine, Chewbacca, Yoda, Lando, Vader, and Phasma. So not everybody, but most. They've taken care of a bunch of bugs that were happening within Heroes vs. Villains, which is a pretty big mess in the first place. Let's see. All classes, they fixed an issue with some of the weapons and their zoom not working correctly. The 2 default emotes reduce the time it takes until you can shoot after executing a melee attack. Some tweaks to damage output or starting damage output. Milestones are now claimed automatically when you complete them. Hallelujah! Instead of having to go to the page to actually get them every single friggin' time, which was just ridiculous. Okay, you do have an option. I'll stick with the pistol. Let's see. What else? They've done some balance changes on some locations as far as, for instance, on Kamino, they made Phase 1 and Phase 3 in Galactic Assault easier for the attackers, trying to make it so that those are more likely to have balanced results. General improvements and bug fixes as noted. Mostly bug fixes in that section. And there are some known issues that are already there that they're trying to work on right now that they've acknowledged are there, but that they haven't actually fixed. You can find all of that by going to battlefront-forums.ea.com, or just go to the Battlefront site on EA and go to forums. There's a game update sub-forum where you'll find all that information. Creepinator gave a lot of thoughts on the solo trailers in a vlog, like an in-depth one where I actually went through and watched the teaser for the teaser, the Super Bowl one, and then watched the regular one twice. I'd say I'm more positive on it now than I was before, but still not all that excited for it. I think it's all going to come down to Alden Ehrenreich's ability to basically capture the Han Solo character. And it's going to come down to, is he basically going to be able to be... Is he basically going to wind up being Zachary Quinto? Probably not. That is Zachary Quinto playing as Spock and being friggin' awesome to the point where you really can see him as a young Leonard Nimoy. Very unlikely. Nothing about his look or his performance thus far makes me think anything like that's going to happen. On the other hand, he does have the possibility of being more like a Carl Urban, which is, you know, you have Carl Urban doing McCoy, he doesn't really look the part as much, but when you get the mannerisms and his tone of voice and everything, he captured the performance so well that you could see him as McCoy. Or it could very well be that what we're going to see is, unfortunately, something a lot more like Chris Pine and Zoe Saldana in the new Trek films, which is basically, well, they're the character because they say they're the character, but there's really virtually nothing about the character or the performance that makes you think this is really a younger version of a character that I've seen portrayed by someone else before. Like Chris Pine's Kirk and Shatner's Kirk are nothing alike. You know, Zoe Saldana's Uhura has nothing to do with Nichelle Nichols' Uhura. They just are the character because that's what the casting says. So hopefully we'll get something better. Whoa! Oh shit, I forgot. When you get the rocket pack, it doesn't dodge. Oh, they changed dodge also so that it's not as good at deflecting incoming damage. Damn it! Kill him! Jeez! Ah! There you go! Okay, bye. This reminds you of Battlefront 1 because everybody was using the jetpacks all the time. I did like the fact that they did the trailer where one of the fans redid the trailer with, I'm Han Solo from Kinect Star Wars. I thought that was pretty cool. And it worked fairly well. Hey, you! Hey, you, stop with that! Pick up the cargo! Pick up the cargo! Son of a bitch! I have yet to be able to pick up the cargo. This does remind me a bit more of my favorite mode of Eve Valkyrie, which is another pick up and go, and in my favorite mode of Destiny 1, where you'd grab it and you'd run it. This is a little more frantic, but I think it works. Yep, I actually saw there's a guy on YouTube who managed to pull the original audio files. So basically you can get the entire soundtrack, more or less, for the dance-off mode in Kinect Star Wars as pure audio files without the other sound effects over it. So I've pulled those and stuck them on a USB because my car uses a USB plug. It's a USB plug or Bluetooth for most of its music. It doesn't even have a CD drive or CD player. Suck! Alright. Yeah, Kryptonera, I'm really hoping that we finally get what they're saying we're going to get. So there was an advertisement, I want to say it was in French, and it was Canadian, I think, that said that we would get an official announcement of all the home video releases for The Last Jedi on February 20th. That's tomorrow. There's still rumors that we're talking about the 14th or the 15th, whichever one's the Tuesday, I guess, being the day that we're going to get the digital release, and that the March 27th is going to be the physical release. That's pretty much confirmed because you have a bunch of sites putting up their stuff saying the 27th, but we still don't have an official announcement yet, which kind of leaves me wondering, like, for instance, we know what the Best Buy one looks like. We know what the Target one looks like. They put their listings up. We have no idea what the Walmart exclusive is going to look like this time. If there is one this time, there's probably going to be one. We have no idea, for instance, if Japan is getting a Movie Next Premium Limited Box Edition. We don't know if Blue Fans is getting an exclusive edition, although Blue Fans were a little bit delayed on Force Awakens. They didn't put out Force Awakens or Rogue One in the Blue Fans exclusive one-click sets until 2017, despite the rest of the Force Awakens stuff coming out in 2016. So, kind of depends. Is that a path to the Force? When I die, I follow the red light? See, I'm not even excited for the Blu-ray. I'm excited for the fact that it's going to be the first Star Wars film we're getting in 4K. In 4K with HDR, it's going to look beautiful. Yeah, so basically, Best Buy has 2 steelbooks already that we know of. A Blu-ray steelbook and a 4K Steelbook. Zabby in the UK has a Steelbook for 4K and for 3D with regular Blu-ray. We aren't getting it unless Walmart is going to have a 3D version, which I highly doubt because they didn't do it before. We aren't going to get a 3D Blu-ray of Last Jedi in the US, but thankfully the ones for the UK are all region, so we'd be able to watch one of those in the US if we buy one of those. Presumably there'll be a DVD. Well, there is a DVD-only version. Disney Movie Club already has pre-orders up for that. But then Target has an exclusive with a little book. And usually Walmart has an exclusive, but Walmart's the one place that hasn't announced anything yet. I just killed a commuter. It's like I'm driving in Atlanta traffic. Yeah, 4K, I don't think I would have switched to... I would have gone 4K if I had had to buy a separate player just yet, although I probably would have once we heard that Last Jedi was coming out that way. But for me, I swapped out my old Xbox One for an Xbox One S and sold the original Xbox One to Mark from Beyond the Films, actually. So that I'd have a 4K player, because we got a 4K TV, but it was like, if we're going to have a 4K TV, we need to have a 4K player. And the price, I'm not sure I could justify the price of a standalone 4K player yet, but since I do gaming stuff, it made sense to do the Xbox One S. I'm not sure I could justify the X, but the S was justifiable. Hey, I wanted to carry it, man! Damn it! I don't see Fox being able to do the 4K thing yet for the other films, assuming, you know, we're talking masters that exist anyway. But I would see that being something that Disney would do as soon as the purchase goes through, because right now, at this point, all it is a matter of waiting for government approval, government oversight approval for the buyout. But it's not Disney buying out Fox, it's Disney buying out the movie and TV interests from Fox, as Fox gets out of movie and TV, or at least movie and fictional TV, and focuses more on news and its other News Corp interests. So once it's actually done, we'll be able to see it, I imagine. I mean, I can't imagine them not doing it. I imagine they probably would have done it for the 40th anniversary if they had had the distribution rights. And Canto Bight makes for some interesting social commentary, but yeah, it feels more out of place than anything else in the film. But I guess now we'll see. It's like every movie has to have its own Canto Bight or Mos Eisley Cantina or Maz's Castle or whatever, because now we're going to get something similar in a Solo, apparently. To see the original theatrical cuts, they'd have to have a master that exists, and I still don't... There's still no evidence that there is such a thing right now. They would have to recreate it. Doesn't mean it can't happen, just means it probably wouldn't happen as soon as previous cuts would. I'm just glad they cut the scene with crazy naked contest winner guy. Although now it kind of feels weird reading his story in the Canto Bight. It's not really a novel. I guess it's more like a small anthology or a novella collection. Oh, son of a... Hello. Ah, you killed her first. Get the cargo! Get the son of a motherless goat! Kill her! No! But I just got promoted. Yeah, Crazy Naked Contest winner. I forget the character's name. It's the character that the first story in the Canto Bight novel is focused on. He's like a little fat potato-looking Cyclops pink character running around buck naked at Canto Bight. Who apparently was removed. I don't remember seeing him in the final film, but I know that the screenshot that is usually used to show which character it was from a cut segment in a spa. Favorite Clone Wars Blu-ray bonus feature besides visual commentary? I guess having the story reels for Bad Batch on there. Or not Bad Batch, for Crystal Crisis on Utapau. Bad Batch never got a home video release. And yeah, that's Jason Fry doing it, so it should turn out pretty well. I keep resisting the urge to reach out to him and be like, so Jason, what can you tell me about some of this stuff? Or to bitch and be like, why are they holding back your novel? But I figured that would just be uncool. I try to hold any of my inquiries to Jason to being about either stuff that I'm assuming he can answer, or it's just me being a smartass about something. Hey Russell, I am alright. Well, I've mentioned at the beginning of the stream that you probably won't see very much of the Battlefront live stream for a while, just because until they do something like they just did today with new content, my urge to play isn't really up there, especially because as I was trying to finish the Last Jedi challenges, I went through a week in which there were 3 challenges that wouldn't track correctly, and I said, screw it. But yeah, we're alright. I've got big news that I'll be able to share just on the home front. I'll be able to share in a couple of weeks, hopefully. And then we had the downside recently. We had a pet pass away that had been with me for literally half my lifetime. But at least that pet is no longer in pain, but we're still kind of dealing with that loss. My wife even more so than me, I guess. Kind of expecting it to be here when we get home and that sort of thing. But otherwise, kind of normal stuff. I got a chance to write again. I wrote an essay for an upcoming anthology about the Blade Runner franchise, so I got a chance to write again. Got invited to write another story for the 10,000 Dawn stuff by James Wilder, that whole series. So I got going to get a chance to probably write another novella for that, or at least a short story. So that'll be fun. Right now, just kind of taking advantage of the fact that it's President's Day, so there's no official work hours today, so I can actually jump on. But most of my gaming time lately has been spent with Skyrim VR or Sprint Vector or something like that. And going back to the VR stuff, I still need to finish a little bit of Shadow of War so I can finally be done with that game. But I'm not going to do the BS 4th act or whatever it is where it's all the grinding and they're just trying to get you to buy loot boxes. Screw that. I'll watch the cutscene for after that off of YouTube. Let's see. Excited for Rebels tonight? I'm excited, but I won't be able to see it tonight. My wife and I don't do cable anymore. We do Netflix, Hulu, CBS All Access, CW app, stuff like that. NHL app. So what'll probably wind up happening is I'll be able to see it tomorrow, probably after 8 p.m., give or take, because she and I will watch it together, and that's usually right around the time she'll be getting home. So we'll be able to actually see it then. Now, was it all the cuts overseas, or was it that there was the 4K version, and then in that box was the other cuts? Because over here in the box is the other cuts, with the exception of the work print, if I remember correctly. Personally, I found the final cut, like, I had a hard time watching Blade Runner in the past, and I still had a hard time watching it to some degree on Blu-ray. It's only once it gets to 4K that I can really dig into it and just enjoy it, because I have a hard time seeing detail on any of the other versions. Though my essay was about 2049. I basically did an essay that was on questions that were answered that we didn't ask, and questions we'd been asking for years that weren't answered. So part of it is about the short films that they did that led into it, that led into 2049. And there's part of it that's about the... Go! Wasn't charged up. Part of it's about how it's actually a good thing, and it wasn't necessary for them when it comes to how they didn't answer the question about is Deckard a replicant or not. They never touched it in 2049, and I would argue that they didn't need to, and that it actually helps keep the fandom debate and fandom interest alive by not doing so. So, I got a chance to delve into that, but I didn't really deal much with the original Battlefront in my essay at all. Or Battlefront. Blah, 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 the original Blade Runner in the essay at all, except in relation to 2049 and its message. Over here, what you've got is the 4K... I have to pick it up, but the 4K copy has the 4K restoration, which was obviously the biggest part of it. Go! God damn it, go! She didn't have the rocket pack. It wasn't charged up. So I'm like running with the damn thing. But you had the other ones on Blu-ray reissued from the pack they did years ago. So you had the 4K cut on a 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, or the final cut, and then you had the other cuts on Blu-ray inside the same set, inside the same package. I will burn your ass to the ground! Oh, no you don't. Yeah. I heard. I don't know what actually he did. He did, I know when he was talking about it, he talked about it being sort of like it was a dream job kind of thing. It's not, but he didn't do anything like major, but to be able to do that itself was awesome. Go! Smack. Wait, what? Huh. That's interesting. So the one on the right now is much more maneuverable. It doesn't just send you right or left. That's what the dodge button does. Instead, it just is kind of an along-the-ground rocket. Like that. Huh. You know, I bet you, Creepy Arrow, I would bet that it's because don't most of the releases that you see, don't they usually wind up only being the one format? Like, it'll be like Blu-ray, but it won't include the DVD, or it'll be 4K, but it won't include the Blu-ray. Because that varies by region big time. Oh! If you were any other man, I would kill you where you stand! Oh, I missed him. Missed him. Here we go. Run! Run! Go get it. You're not gonna get to it before anybody else does, but try to go get it at least anyway. Uh-oh. Maneuverability, schmumouverability. The fact that you can use the rocket always is kind of cool. But there is a trade-off because it's not going to fire as rapidly, and if you miss, you're waiting quite a bit longer before you can take another shot. Kind of cool, though. Seriously, it's like we're in the middle of a war, and nobody cares about collateral damage. All we're doing is just, you know, firing rockets all over the city. I'm not sure that's the best rules of engagement for a group that's supposed to be fighting for freedom and the little guy. See how the rifle plays. I don't really usually like to play with the... Oh, wait, yeah, because this mode's not going to have a first person either. Right? Because the Jet Trooper doesn't have a first person mode. Correct? Correct. What the? Where'd it go? Which way did it go, George? Which way did it go? Ah. I still have one more multiplayer challenge to do, which is the kills with the hero, because I spent so much time working on trooper ones that I wasn't even usually using my points to play as a hero when I could. So I'm way behind on that one. Like, crazy behind. I did finish up, speaking of finishing things up, I'm in the midst of my big Star Trek rewatch, which is only partly a rewatch because once I got to a certain point after the killing game in Voyager and after, gosh, I forget the name of the episode. The episode where Cisco and Dukat are crashed and stuck together in a cave, and Dukat's kind of going crazy, and he, based on his conversation with Cisco, believes that he needs to commit genocide against the Bajorans. Whatever that episode was called. After those episodes, I had never seen the rest of B5 or B5, haha, of DS9. You know, same difference. Or a Voyager. So I'm now to the point where it's not really a rewatch so much as it's watching some things for the first time. But I finally finished Deep Space Nine. Which leaves me with basically I've got about a season and a half or so of Voyager left, and then Nemesis. And then unless I decide to rewatch Discovery again, then I'll be done with the Trek rewatch and finally start my Babylon 5 rewatch again. So, I said hyped, yes, but not for tonight so much as I'm just hoping to avoid spoilers and such, because my wife and I won't be able to watch it until tomorrow night. Because it'll come out on iTunes probably overnight, but then she won't get home from work, so we could watch it together until about 8 o'clock tomorrow. Defeat. Oh no, how sad. No music, gotta avoid the copyright stuff. Sad. Interesting, they give you a little signal strength indicator now. That's new. Yeah, I haven't done that at all. Play 3 rounds of arcade. Yeah, I don't care. Again, my impetus and my energy for must get all these cards and must this, I'm like, yeah, screw it. You're going to give me 3 challenges in 1 week as the last week of The Last Jedi and none of them are going to count correctly? Bite me. I'm done. Yeah, I've dug Discovery, but it is definitely a very different feeling Trek show, and I'm interested to see how they finally work out some of the continuity kinks and the look kinks relative to the original series. But now that we basically have Pike showing up 2 years after the Cage in the year in which he would have given up command, but still like 9 years before Kirk would take command, that should make for an interesting second season. And maybe a chance for them to actually explain everything. But I've always been a fan of the Mirror Universe stuff anyway. So to have a big chunk of Discovery focused on Mirror Universe stuff was pretty awesome. And to have mysteries laid out with clues in early episodes that actually play out later. It really played more like Babylon 5 than any Star Trek I've ever seen. In the sense of laying foundations and hints beforehand in an ongoing arc and so forth. Which is good, because I much prefer B5. Now that I've seen all of Deep Space Nine, which I had given up on mainly because of my angst and my annoyance with the whole... When I finally learned about the whole Babylon 5, Paramount ripping off the original pilot script that was shopped around, and even to the point of a shape-shifting security chief, I was like, screw this, because I was a big B5 fan. But now that I've seen both of them in their entirety, yeah, I still believe B5 was much better than DS9. Less filler crap. Rebels is definitely something that builds and becomes stronger and stronger over time. I think that it's... I definitely prefer Rebels over Clone Wars by far at this point. But part of that is because Rebels is original characters in most cases, which allows them to tell stories where you don't know what the You don't know what the ending is going to be. Can I change? Oh, you can't change your card loadout either. I didn't really pay attention to that, but no, you can't. Which Star Wars Blu-ray 3D do I like better, Force Awakens or Rogue One? I prefer Rogue One because it's more varied in depth, with some of it seeming like it's pushing forward, whereas with Rogue One, or with Force Awakens, it was much more like looking into a diorama. Most of the depth went into the screen rather than into and out, except for one shot of the finalizer, if I remember correctly. Yeah, incentive to play is like, nope. I mean, I'll play because I want to see what's new, but this is the first time I picked up this game in a while now. First time I've streamed since January 4th. Usually all I was doing was I'd get on, get the daily crate, and leave, which is probably why... I don't even know where I'm running. I'm just, like, running like an idiot for no reason while I'm talking. This would help to run towards the objective. Like, I got to a point where... I think that a lot of people got to the point where they were just getting on, getting the daily supply crate and leaving, which is probably why there's the glitch, which is probably on purpose and not a glitch, but they won't tell us, of now you have to enter a match or enter a game mode and then leave in order for your daily crate to show up most of the time. I never did play Destiny 2. I loved Destiny 1, but I stopped right before... What was the last DLC? Rise of Iron? Is that what it was? I played through House of Wolves and the one before that. But I think it was the very last... Oh, shit! The very last DLC was the one I never played for it. I just got tired of it. But part of it was I was sucking so much time into it that it was ridiculous. I'm having to try to really limit my game time for productivity's sake, but also to games that actually have the ability to be done. You know, like, I've got all these games sitting here I need to finish and get them done. Like, I finally just finished Archangel for PlayStation VR a few nights ago, and I had that since launch day. I need to get this stuff cleared out, if for no other reason than the fact that my hard drive's getting full on this Pro, and that's the one I tend to play on. Predictions on episodes premiering tonight. I haven't really paid attention to any of the stuff. I honestly probably need to rewatch the last one from before the break, because I don't really I'm having trouble remembering exactly what happened in that one. It's been so long. Oh, shit. Does it still have the orange color timing issue for the Final Cut on 4K? I didn't notice that, if so. But then again, I hadn't watched any of the other versions in a very long time, so it probably would have just slipped right past me, even if I had somewhat noticed it. You gotta take it to the... You gotta deliver it, man! Victory is life! Wait, no, that's Jim Hadar, my bad. Die, commuter! Die, whoever the hell you are, because it didn't tell me who you were! Go! Go! Ah, balls. Killed. Too far away. Wow. I think what got me to not play Destiny 2, really, one of the things was finding out that they weren't going to have progression carryover at all. Which felt to me like too much of hitting a reset button, but I just couldn't invest the time. Like right before, so I put a shitload of time into Destiny 1, and right before that, I had been, and actually when it first came out, I was still continuing to put in a shitload of time towards Defiance, and I just could not justify another MMO style game and the sheer amount of time that it would require to keep progression going and keep up with the Joneses, so to speak. I just couldn't do it. Episode 3 did... there are some who say that there were changes to the foliage on top of some of the Kashyyyk buildings, but I've never noticed that before myself. But the primary change was kind of lame. They basically took what... You know how at the end, right as Obi-Wan and C-3PO are leaving in the ship and they got everybody else in the back and Obi-Wan's doing this whole thing because he's so distraught. it used to switch from that to the next shot of, I think it was Anakin clawing his hand up. Used to switch from there with a wipe, and for home media release, they changed it to just a regular straight cut, and then for Blu-ray, they changed it back to a wipe. Or maybe it was vice versa. But suffice to say, that was the only big change. Magpie Defiance was a game on PS3 and Xbox 360 and PC. It was a third-person shooter, persistent world MMO shooter game, kind of like what Destiny was, except third-person, not first-person. Lots of dynamic events, long storylines, weekly events, added content frequently and stuff like that. Really fun. Played the hell out of it. Was one of the top players as far as like keeping up with everything you had to have and your gear and everything. That's actually what got me to play online multiplayer at all outside of the Transformers War for Cybertron type stuff. And then Destiny kind of kept me going with it a little bit. But it was tied into the show on Sci-Fi Channel. So like events that would happen in the game would affect the show, and events that happen in the show would be reflected in changes to the game the next week. The game itself was set around San Francisco or San Diego. I think it was San Francisco. In this this dystopian future, whereas the show took place around the St. Louis area. So what would happen is like you'd see a character leave from the show and they'd show up in the game for a couple weeks and then return back. After their experiences there, they would return back in the other. Like there was like an item that you got within the game that was really important, that wound up being important to the show, that eventually somebody would come and like get from you or something. I forget exactly how it worked, but it was pretty cool. But then the show got canceled, and the game just sort of petered out after that. Plus, this was the era in which PS4 and Xbox One were launching, and they weren't pushing that game onto the new next gen consoles. So the base was dwindling for that also, and then Destiny came out, and it just kind of slowly but surely killed the game. But it was fun. I mean, I can't tell you how many hours I spent. Put it this way, one of the things that you had to do for one of the particular achievements or whatever you call it in that game was to play 50 hours of multiplayer. And I sure as hell did. I got, like on this game, you got all the different challenges and stuff to do. They had something similar to that. They would sometimes change by the week because of new content being released on Defiance, and I did all of them. All of them. Up to the point where I finally said, screw it, I can't devote the time to this anymore because I'm spending a bunch of time on Destiny. You know, it's the best way to know about those home video releases is to pick up this book by this guy. It's called Saga on Home Video, A Fan's Guide to U.S. Star Wars Home Video Releases. It's really good. If I do say so my own dang self. Come on. There we go. So this is good, but it's also mind-numbing. I mean, unless I'm mistaken, haven't we been playing on Tatooine this entire time? Like, we haven't played anywhere other than Tatooine. Is this the only map for this mode? Because that kind of sucks. Like, I've been playing nothing but Tatooine on this mode. No! Shit! And why is this character carrying around a First Order pistol? Don't know. I mean, they'd have to do an upscale kind of thing. I mean, that's about the only thing they could do. You know? Tatooine is the only map? Oh, damn it. Just when I thought, holy crap, they've done something cool and right. One map? One-ing map? But yeah, Andy, that's the downside of when you're doing digital entirely. You know, when you're doing nothing but digital filmmaking, You're not going to have the thicker stuff. But actually, wasn't it, to Henry's point, wasn't it originally filmed in 2K? Of course, now you got movies that are being filmed in 8K. But wasn't it filmed in 2K originally, so they could theoretically upscale? But it's true, they don't have like an original ability to go through and do a new scan of a master the way that you would with film-based edited stuff. Ha ha! Oh God! Move! Ah! I don't even want to play the objective anymore. I just want to blow people up with a rocket launcher. Things that make you go boom. Oh, no, somebody stole it. Give it back. Give it back. Give it back. Man, I am just not hitting this guy. Give it back! Quick! Pick it up! Go, go, go! I kind of just wish that they would do the whole theatrical thing. Find a way to restore a theatrical cut, put it out in 4K, if for no other reason than that it wouldn't be something I'd be asked about every time I turn around. That's the downside of being like a home video aficionado, is that people will turn around and ask you about it constantly. Like, okay, only answered this a million times. Same thing with like the books. Like, hey, do you think they should continue Legends books? Can you not ask the same thing? It's like when I used to interview authors, I would always try to make sure that I had some questions that are interesting and different than what they would be asked all the damn time. Do I think Indiana Jones will receive... I don't know. Be nice. I would assume that would probably happen only after the next Indiana Jones comes out. Indiana Jones 5. Indy wears a cast because he keeps trying to kill himself on movie shoots. He wakes up at the beginning of Indy 5 and realizes that Crystal Skull was all a bad dream. Thank goodness. Shit. Oh yeah, you bastard! Jump! Damn it! Go! I need to get back into the habit of using the other one. It's just weird because it doesn't play like it used to. Come on, guys! Don't choke! We're not the Falcons. Well, not really. I mean, if they continued Legends now, they would just have to continue a separate continuity. I'd be like, you know, Transformers having Beast Wars comics and G1 comics out at the same time. But they're of a mind that it would confuse people. Just like, you know, we're going to make comics more accessible by making them completely irrelevant. Or continuity busting like in the Brian Wood Dark Horse days. Get the cargo! Oh. Takes too long to get the cargo. Where's the cargo gonna be? Oh, now the cargo's over here? Oh, I got the cargo. I'll get the cargo. I got the cargo, bitch. God damn it. I was trying to go across and then up with the 2 different jetpacks, and I hit an antenna that kept me from going upward for some reason. Because a vertical antenna somehow keeps you from going upward when you're standing beside it. Ah, I haven't seen Young Indy in a long time. I'll be honest with you, Young Indy put me to sleep most of the time. There was a handful of episodes I liked, and I actually used a few episodes at one point in teaching. But a lot of times I used just the really good documentary things that were on the home video release for teaching. But good lord, those are hard episodes to watch. This was not again, pacing is a big thing for me, and they were horribly, horribly paced. Oh, yeah, our world, yeah. But, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not something that they could do. Again, going with the Transformers example, you have Transformers comics and stuff like that that are out there that are completely different than the movies that are coming out. Just because one of them is the predominant thing that we see in pop culture right now doesn't mean that they can't have another continuity going, except that seems to be what Lucasfilm believes. But these were the same people guided by Lucas's whole, I know that you've been building up Anakin Solo to be the one that goes dark for years, except, well, see, now I'm making movies with an Anakin Skywalker, and, well, we can't have 2 characters named Anakin out there because that would confuse people, because Star Wars fans are, you know, stupid. So we're going to have you kill Anakin Solo, and we're going to somehow shoehorn Jason into being the one that goes dark, even though you've been setting this up since Dark Empire 2. Our bad. That kind of bullcrap. Alright, I may do one more. Nah, I'm not even going to do another one of this. I'll do one more match, but I'm not going to do the jetpack thing anymore. I'll do Starfighter Assault or something. They've changed some of the requirements on some of the milestones. Last time they did that, I came in and there was a ton of stuff that had been marked as done all of a sudden, but that doesn't seem to have been the case this time. I just found myself, my mind boggles, and if you're friends with me on Facebook, then you'd already probably heard me say this last night, but the fact that there are 18 Marvel movies already. I mean, Black Panther is number 18. Imagine when we get to the point from a Star Wars perspective where there's that many. In 8 years, we got 18 Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. Not to count 5 seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., 2 of Agent Carter, 1 of Runaways, 2 of Daredevil, 1 now about to be 2 of Jessica Jones, 1 of Luke Cage, 1 of Iron Fist, but the less said about that, the better. 1 of Defenders, 1 of Inhumans. It's insane! Alright, let's see. So, can I go get a... Yeah, I can go get a crate and once again see how the duplicates are worth more, because ain't no way I'm going to actually get anything good. Hero crate! Ka-chink! Nothing but commons. Hey, something new. I can feel your anger. Holy crap! What the... Alright. What? Have they changed the way that RNG works and they're now trying to fill slots with new stuff? You and me. What? That is the first time in ages I've gotten 5 things, even if they're all commons, out of a supply crate where only 1 of them was duplicate. Usually it's at least 3 duplicates. Maybe they've changed up the RNG finally. Either way, again, they did change it. Now a common that is a duplicate is worth 300, not 200. An uncommon, 600 instead of 400, and so on. So, not bad. Let's see. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, well, see, but what's funny is, and I just got done editing, so it'll be up soon. The next episode of Star Wars Beyond the Films. StarWarsReport.com is where you'll find it. It's not up yet. It was basically the last part of our 2017 year in review recorded on Super Bowl Sunday, where we were talking about Last Jedi and such. And Mark brought up the interesting point that it seemed like they were always wanting to do a handoff to the next generation in the EU, in the Legends continuity, right? That's kind of what getting to the end of Vision of the Future was supposed to do, to sort of be a handoff with the characters picking up, of course, in Junior Jedi Knights, Young Jedi Knights, and then them carrying on. And then New Jedi Order was supposed to also kind of being a passing of the torch. And it's like every different series after that, Legacy of the Force, Fate of the Jedi, supposed to be a passing of the torch. But they never were willing to fully pass the torch. Instead, eventually, you wind up seeing Crucible that's kind of supposed to wrap things up, but it leaves things in kind of a questionable situation because we don't have a clear link between the end of that and the beginning of Legacy. They were constantly reluctant to make stories, and we talked about this on that show plenty of times, to make stories that were all about characters that were only in those series, unless it was way out of left field like Legacy or Tales of the Jedi. If it was going to be in an era in which the film characters were alive, they wouldn't bring themselves to focus on non-film characters most of the time, unless it was like a video game tie-in like Republic Commando. So with that happening, I mean, sure enough, we're in a screwball situation back then where the passing of the torch never really felt like it happened, and then it was all done. Whereas now, they're passing the torch immediately. But it's a little different in books than it is in the films, because with the books, you can use a character indefinitely. In the films, you know, the actors are aging, the actors are not going to want to keep doing this kind of stuff and so on, so they really have to push the changing of the guard thing. But a lot of the elements of the changing of the guard kind of stuff that we see within the sequel trilogy was stuff that Lucas had already planned for a sequel trilogy back when he admitted to having planned a sequel trilogy, as opposed to later giving us the line of crap about how he only ever planned 6, which is bullshit. But yeah, I think that's the thing. I mean, there was just a reluctance back then to actually let the new characters shine. But it was part of the fact that those new characters weren't readily recognizable, because if you'd only seen the films, you don't know who Jason, Jaina, Ben, and so on are. Whereas if you've only seen the films, you know who Rey and Finn and Jyn and so on are. You don't really know who Snoke is beyond his appearance. That's okay.
Initiating offensive.
Go! I'm only choosing to be a fighter because I do like the new glow. I really want to see what that looks like in HDR, but you can't stream when it's on HDR mode. But yeah, I'm eager to see the fighter milestones done. And I think there's only 2 more fighter milestones that are just regular fighter milestones left that I need to do. One of them is kills as a fighter, and the other one is hero kills as a fighter. So, fighter it is. Die! Aw, man! Feel like the dude on UHF throwing the poodles out the window. Today we teach you poodles how to fly! Aw, man! Go! Go, go, Vulture Fighter! The one time that JL's not on the stream, right? I make a Power Rangers reference. Oh, I bet you I was shooting at the wrong side, because it was still outlined from my side. I can't see diddly. Yep, I was shooting at the wrong side. I can't see diddly. 5%, 4%, 3%. It's not the battlefield, it's the battlefront. If you're analyzing Battlefield, then you're admitting to how you ripped off your own franchise for certain gameplay mechanics. Korg? You probably have to tell me who Korg is, because I don't recognize that name for some reason. Unless I missed something somewhere. Then again, for what it's worth, I haven't seen Thor Ragnarok yet. I saw Black Panther, but we never saw Thor well, I never saw Thor Ragnarok. My wife did with her dad. On like a father-daughter-y kind of thing. Whoa. Okay, then yeah. Die! Yeah, Sword of the Jedi probably would have been the actual beginning of it, because Crucible was sort of that last straw of, yes, okay, we're finally going to patch the torch. And then, you know, they never got the opportunity to. Oh, come on.
Republic cruisers must be destroyed.
Kill him! Murderize him! I'll murderize you! Well, that didn't friggin' work.
Incoming ally.
I don't even know which heroes I still got to do milestones with. The fact that there are arcade milestones make me decide that and I've said this before, that I'm just not going to bother trying to do all the milestones from this game. Because screw arcade mode. Arcade mode is not fun. Arcade mode sucks, and some of the challenges are asinine. Do all 3 stars on ones that are already kind of garbage. No.
Defend the incoming group.
I lack the impetus.
All 3 Republic cruisers inoperable.
I'm gonna be the most powerful Jedi ever. Oh shit. Lost Stars as the most 2010s Star Wars story? How so? Aside from the fact that it was the first Star Wars book in a long time to have a sexual encounter.
Alert, internal fire detected.
They tend to be doing that a lot with the Disney Lucasfilm Press young adult books, much more so than the adult ones. That's true. That's true. Sienna is.
Sensors indicate Republic cruisers have sustained severe
Die! Dead. Whew, be the last match, because I'm just like, yeah. And I'm sitting here with my mouth throbbing. I've got an old root canal from back in the day when they would used to stabilize them with metal rods. Well, the root has now split in half, and the metal rod is stabbing out of my gum. So pretty sure I'm gonna be feeling this later. This is the pressure that's added from the headphones. Pressure gets added. It's not even on that spot of the mouth, but I guess it's in the sinuses, and the sinuses are where that one's embedded. Whoa! Damn it! I just want to kill, because that's all I need.
Victory plan formulated.
Yeah. I don't know. Luke's hair in the... No. Luke's hair, as interpreted for the early Marvel comics, is definitely Time Capsule 70s. Where he looks like Fabio. At least in hairstyle. Until you get to All Together Now, the final issue, and then he really looks like Fabio. Luke can't believe it's not Butter either.
Separatist dreadnought detected. Clear to engage. Fire on.
Just for the taste of it, die it solo.
Alert. Venator beam weapon has eliminated our dreadnought.
You can't
New
see
objective,
me.
Overload beam weapon on
Now
lower
you
hull
see
of
me, now you
Venator.
don't, you
Shield
mother...
collapse
Hey.
will follow.
Okay, I got a kill assist. That wasn't too bad.
Hyena-class bombers initiating attack run. Defend units until completion.
Damn. Oh, crap. It just did the little lock-on thing, but it did the lock-on thing differently than I would have liked. Kill him! There you go. I know I need to get kills with missiles with Maul, so...
They will know fear.
They will know fear. They will play it on their PlayStation 2. Or what was it? Yeah, it makes me wonder if they were just using the poster as their model for the character. But then years later, you still had some artists who still couldn't get their looks right. Attack!
Beam weapon overload successful. Shields disabled. New orders. Target engines to destroy Venator.
Damn it! Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Odds continue in our favor.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
Increased likelihood of success.
Bombardment complete. Droid bombers departing.
Here we go. Take out the beam weapon.
Republic Venator has restored power.
Take out the weapon.
Shields up.
Ah, damn it! I didn't even get to take really much of a shot at it.
Favorable outcome.
And then I get to start way the hell back here, so there's no way I get back to it fast enough, probably. To be able to actually get another shot in.
Allied bombers beginning their run.
Attack the Venator's engines again! And we're dead. One more death will kill it for us. Come on. Separatist. Tippy.
Loss confirmed. Return to base for salvage processing.
Why does Garfield hate Mondays if he doesn't have a job? Good question. Cool. Thank you. Yeah, I tried to give that one at least, since it was going to be the afterword, give it a chance to sort of wrap things up. I actually specifically requested an afterword when I was asked, do you want to do this? And I was like, well, what do you think of this as kind of the theme? And he went for it. I was like, all right, cool. So I got one in each. But that's the one that definitely stands out to me as the one that I feel like is kind of the better of the three. And we slowly go to the menu. Slowly.
Menus mostly come out at night, slowly.
Actually, just back to Kickstarter for the Nemesis board game, which is Alien-esque in its type. So another thing I'm trying to do right now is go through and rewatch the Aliens and Predator films and Aliens versus Predator films to eventually get to a point where I play the Alien isolation game that I got for a steal during one of those PSN sales. May the Force be with you. Let's clear. I'm trying to clear out all the stupid little marker thingies. Okay, that's nice. Gone. Bye-bye, marker thingy. Oh, look, it's Palpatine. Oh, look, it's Palpatine. Oh, goodbye, marker thingy. Okay. So I guess if you're not using your loadout, then I'm assuming that means that you're not doing anything that actually uses your star cards at all when you're playing the jetpack mission, whatever the hell the new thing's called. And one thing I don't think I've ever shown on the stream was I haven't actually shown Aiden's Starfighter in use, but, I mean, it doesn't really do a whole heck of a lot. It just looks like a regular TIE LN, line model TIE, so whatever. And not enough to get any more crates yet. No time challenges. Yeah, my multiplayer, I'm still at a lot to go. I still have over 300 to go on kill enemies as a hero before I can knock out the last of the multiplayer stuff. Starfighter-wise, I'm almost there on Fighter Ace, but then I still need to go after hero ships. My trouble is from an eyesight standpoint, I have trouble seeing the hero ships to go after them to try to do that one. So unless it's some huge hero ship like the Millennium Falcon or something, it's really hard for me to see them to know to go after them. And that's even when it is an unusual shape, like, say, the TIE Silencer. So, whatever. Eventually, maybe I'll do it, but I'm not going to put that much time into it, as I'm probably not going to put a whole lot of time, as I mentioned, into this. So, no idea when the next stream will be of Battlefront stuff. Probably the next time they drop some new content, so whatever the next patch might be, or the beginning of the next season of whatever, probably. Or maybe when they finally do the challenges that you can do that are actually going to get you those Hoth costumes on here that are just for those particular time challenges. We will know that soon. Again, I'm talking about how for the appearances for Han, Leia, and Luke, there we go. They now have the Hoth attire there, but it's only going to be available through a timed challenge, which they're not there yet. So, other things going on. Keep an eye out for, let's see, we'll have a project update coming up soon for the channel that'll talk about the different projects that I'm involved with and where things stand for those. Work continues on the Star Wars Timeline Gold's next release. That is probably going to be set for August this time instead of October. Reasons for that forthcoming. Star Wars Beyond the Films just had the release of our year in review for 2017, focusing on games, not just video games, but tabletop, card, and everything else. The one for the movies, TV, and convention type stuff for 2017 just got edited and sent to Mark today. He'll add the music and it'll be done. It'll be out. Cloud City Casino, we just had an episode recently talking about DLC from Battlefront 2, the Season of the Last Jedi story content, and some other stuff. Been doing a lot of stuff with Nate's favorite deck building games on the YouTube channel. Had some recent episodes from the Star Wars Home Video Library, such as the One Click Blue Fans Blu-ray sets from China, which are pretty sweet. We'll have, of course, more information probably at some point once we've got an official announcement for the Last Jedi Home Video stuff. Do an episode to kind of help parse those out for those who are trying to figure out which ones to buy. And yeah. Otherwise, just kind of keeping on. No new PlayStation VR games the last couple of days, and I'm not picking up any new ones this week. Next time there are some new PSVR games that I'll pick up, I'll do some streams. If nothing else, I know for sure that I'll be doing some streams once Bravo Team arrives as the newest PlayStation VR AIM-enabled game. So, there you go. And of course, if you're looking for a book about Star Wars Home Video, look no further than A Saga on Home Video, A Fan's Guide to U.S. Star Wars Home Video Releases, which is my book that is out on... It's available all over the place now, but Amazon is the easiest way to get it because they're the initial distributor. So, thank you very much for joining me, taking part in the chat. I really appreciate it, even though we don't do these things as often as we used to. So hopefully it'll be less than another month and a half before we get some new content for me to jump back in. But for now, I'm going to head out of here. So thank you all, and I'll catch you later.